Yes,
became this
the one-upmanship,
competition
yeah.
of trying to be, dirty and filthy and be funny and try to surprise each other. And it all culminated with Big Jay Oakerson, who's one of the Legion of Skanks, being dosed with acid. Yep. The whole online world, I don't know. I sort of like, I appreciate it. The type of comedy that Legion of Skanks does, nobody's really doing that type of comedy anymore.
You guys are like the last, I feel like.
Yeah.
We never probably went as hard as you guys did in general, but even Barstool, there's just like a lot more on the line, and people grew up and got families, and there's just like money to lose, and we kind of like, not like we sold out, but it's just not the same as what it once was. You guys, I feel like, are ratcheting it up.
The parameters change constantly, right? So you're right. Look, we do a certain brand of humor, but I come onto a show like this, I'm not doing the same type of humor we're doing on that show.
Go ahead.
Well, and we do to a certain degree, but Legion of Skanks, I mean, that brand, we and this was very deliberate, right? We started calling it the most offensive podcast on Earth.
So my question was like, at what point do you, because what I don't like is being controversial for the sake of being controversial.
Yeah.
And that's where I think it can start to get like inorganic, and it can start to be like phony. Like, you're just saying this to say this.
Controversial is the wrong word. So we are dirty for the sake of being dirty, edgy for the sake of being edgy. Controversial, it's not controversial to me, right? This is how comics talk to each other in cars. You know what I'm saying? We're not really, it's not even opinionated. It's not like we have these like social opinions or these political opinions. We're saying stupid shit. You remember that movie, that documentary, what the fuck was the about the joke, The Aristocrats? Remember that came out a few years ago, and it was an old joke, I guess, that comics used to tell. And the idea of the joke was you would try to say the most offensive shit possible in this joke, and they made a whole documentary about it. And they had like 50 comics do their own versions of this joke, and everybody was doing this really offensive joke. And the point wasn't to be controversial or offend people. The point was to see how you can riff within those parameters. And it's not easy to fucking say offensive shit and get people to laugh anymore. People are pussies. You go to a comedy club or you go online, people are looking to be offended. So it's become almost like a different sort of type of comedy. And that's what I compare Legion of Skanks to. So we are, every episode, we are genuinely trying to be offensive.
Right.
When we're going over the notes, it's not like, well, what happened today?
But it's like within the framework of comedy, right?
Of course.
Like you're not going to say something you don't believe just to be offensive.
No.
You'll be like, how can I describe my opinion on this matter, which I'm being true to?
The only truth is funny, right? Or with us, right? Yeah, we might say something absurd or something sexist or racial or whatever it is, for the sake of being funny in the moment, right? So this is where you get caught. When I go, well, no, I mean this and I don't mean this. It's all jokes. Like, we're fucking around. The reality is we're just trying to be as funny as possible. If we start to subcategorize, well, no, this thing I really meant and this thing I didn't really mean.
You'll never stop doing that.
Right, exactly. And if I start apologizing for, well, that was a joke and that's not a joke, then you're fucked. The second you apologize, the second you say, I went too far, I shouldn't, you're fucked.
Yeah.
You are absolutely fucked. So we're completely unapologetic. The show is really offensive. If you get, triggered by certain words, all the no words that you're not supposed to say, it's not going to be the show for you. But the reason we branded it as the most offensive podcast on earth is because nobody really knocks on our door without knowing that. And this is why I think we don't get in trouble the same way other people get in trouble. Because if somebody says, oh, can you believe the Legion of Skanks said that? People are like, it's the most offensive podcast on earth. That's what they do.
I've always said that, like, it's better to be fucking wild and everything you do is crazy. Like, I always use the comparison of Dennis Rodman to Alex Rodriguez. Dennis Rodman, every fucking thing he's ever done is crazy. So when you hear a story about him, like he, fucked this person or fought this person or whatever, you're just like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, who cares?
And then A-Rod, who was like squeaky clean,
of course,
he does some steroids and people were like, well, kick him out of the this and that. Because it's like what you're used to. The baseline is normal, and then he deviates from that. Whereas when you're just fucking all over the place, no one's gonna ever be up in arms that knows Legion of Skanks and cares about it.
Exactly.
Unless you're looking to be up in arms.
We've developed this fan base. They don't give a fuck.
They don't.
I think I could murder a baby on air, and they'd be like, cool.
Yeah, honestly,
let's go.
The Skankonia fans are.
They're a really hardcore
legion.
fan base. And it's great that, look, you want to have people like, dude, none of our fan base, we get sort of categorized as this like Trump supporters are right wing.
Well, you're a Proud Boy, right?
Oh, obviously, I'm fourth degree Proud Boy. But it's like our fan base couldn't be any less political. Couldn't give a shit about.
Yeah, I mean they're trash people. You guys are trash bags.
Yeah,
you
we're
know what I mean?
literally
Like,
garbage people who are just trying to get high, get fucked up, have a good time, laugh at shitty jokes.
So you like Shane Gillis kind of like is in the mix now, right? Like
in the
it's
mix.
yeah, and that's like relatively newish.
Within our world,
Yeah.
or so no Shane. I mean, Shane's been a friend of the show for a long time,
Right.
you know?
I guess I was talking to him relatively recently, and because he was in the running as a vice president, I believe.
Vice President Ari Shaffir is the president of Legion of Skanks. Ari Shaffir
This is
not
one of the best
on,
things I saw.
He's not on Legion
This
of Skanks.
is the best. Ari Shaffir's the president of Legion of Skanks. He's not on the show.
He's not on the show. So tonight, what's funny is we did a whole presidential election, which is sort of a hack radio bit, but we did it our own way.
It.
And we just spent 2 months doing this, every single week, a new event. And Ari's just a psycho. Ari brings out the best in us.
Yeah. And
Love
the
him or
worst,
hate him.
you know?
Yeah. He's just like a force. He gets in the room. You're like, all right, dude, we got to pull our dicks out. This is Ari's here. Somebody's got a shit in a hat right now because Ari's here, And that is like, he definitely brought out we started to just try to outdo each other, and it became this competition of trying to be dirty and filthy and be funny and try to surprise each other, and it all culminated with Big Jay Oakerson, who's one of the Legion of Skanks, being dosed with acid.
You know the story?
In the final episode. So
listen to this though. Yeah, that's his move. But Ari, they tried to outdo Ari.
So here's what
they tried
happened.
to out Ari, and Ari knew what was going on. It was incredible.
I fucked up. I'll tell you right now, it was on me. I fucked up. I thought that I can outsmart Ari Shaffir. Nobody, listen to me, nobody can outsmart Ari Shaffir. That's a fact. I'll tell you right now, okay? So Ari Shaffir, about a year ago, dosed Bert Kreischer with Molly at his house. And it was a whole thing. Like their friendship behind the scenes was legitimately in question, real issues
for a while, right?
Real issues with their friendship.
I was like, I had to go home to my kids.
Yeah, dude. Not happy.
Yeah.
So I was like, fuck this, dude. Ari's been killing us. I knew he was going to win the election. I was like, I'm going to fucking dose Ari tonight. So this kid brought acid to the show. He was like, do you want acid? I was like, yeah, I want acid. So I had my employees. This is illegal to even say, I think, at this point. I gave it to my employee. I was like, make sure this gets in Ari Shaffir's beer. Okay, just put a tab of acid in his beer. Now, I fucked up and I told Shane, thinking that Shane, look, I get that he's on Team Ari, but at the same time, it's pretty goddamn funny to dose Ari Shaffir with acid on Legion of Skanks. Let us just do it.
All right.
Let us do I assumed that Shane would just let it happen because that is the absolute funniest scenario. No.
Well, I don't know.
Shane goes and tells Ari, okay? So this all happens on camera. So you can go back and watch this episode. You see the moment where Big Jay gets up to do some little speech. Ari takes the beer, switches it with Jay's. Big Jay. Now, Big Jay's never done acid in his life. He has massive anxiety as it is. He's an innocent fucking bystander right now.
I didn't know Big Jay's never. Big Jay looks like a guy who does acid.
No. Big Jay is a pussy when it comes to hallucinogens.
I don't know. Acid. I'm not going to call someone a pussy if they don't do acid. I think that's a pretty
Real
decent
bitch
line to
move
have.
to not take LSD and give 12 hours of your life to being on another planet, in my opinion. So Jay starts drinking it, right? And then, I'm having this moment. It's brilliant. You got to give Ari so much credit for this because in this moment, Ari starts acting like he's on acid. So he's like looking at the lights. And me and my whole side of the table are cracking up like we fucking got him. Finally, we got Ari. We knew he's going to win, but fuck it. At least he's tripping on acid now. So I get up and I start gloating like, I am the king of mayhem, Ari. You ain't got shit on me. And then his face just stops and he goes, oh, really? And they reveal that Jay is dosed. And you just see Jay starts to panic. He's like, well, I'm doing it. Did the show ends with Jay? I mean, Jay leaves, trips for 26 hours. Furious with all of his friends for 2 weeks straight. We question whether or not we're going to continue with Legion of Skanks. It was wild. So tonight, from here, I'm going to meet up with my quote-unquote lawyers. We're having the trial of the century. Myself versus Ari Shaffir on Legion of Skanks. Who is more responsible for Jay's dosing? Me for introducing acid or Ari for actually dosing him? So that we're doing Sal Volcano.
I feel like Shane Gillis has got to be,
Shane's a co-defendant. Sal Volcano from the Impractical Jokers is the judge. We have a 12-comic panel of jurors. It's so fucking stupid, dude.
I love it, though. I mean, the
and when
election
people
was
try to say that we're political, I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? We are dumb. Literally, this is where we thrive. And I feel like
drugging each other.
Everyone else, for some reason, there needs to be this more serious tone to content, whatever it is. If you watch a sporting event now, people are taking knees and they're fucking arguing about this, that, and the other. You watch Saturday Night Live, it's all political, all the comedy content, all the movies, everything that goes out there. There's just this tone constantly. and we just don't give a fuck. There's none of that when it comes down to what we do,
So
and I
I'm
think
just not
that's
playing
why.
by your rules. Like
Yeah.
I hate when it happens with celebrities, and I guess comics to an extent now, where it's like you have more so just celebrities, actors, and shit. You have an obligation with your platform. It's like, fuck you.
Yeah.
We get that sometimes too. It's like, I have an obligation to like my goddamn self.
That's
like,
it. I have an obligation to
my
my
obligation
kid.
is to, I gotta pay bills.
Yep.
And I want to try to make you laugh. And like, we in the past year, I probably got caught up more so than anybody at Barstool talking about George Floyd and the protests and all that, saying shit that I believe to be just like common sense. And I realized like you can't win. I'm getting it from every side.
Yeah,
I'm
you'll
losing
never win.
fans. And I was just like, so I'm just not doing this anymore.
Yeah,
And
that's
people are
not-
like,
that's
well,
not
you
why
have
people are
to.
here.
And it's
Yeah.
like, no, I fucking don't.
Well, who said that I'm not a role model? There's a famous quote.
Yeah, Charles Barkley.
Yeah, Charles Barkley. Exactly. That's
Fuck
exactly. it.
yeah, man.
Raise your own fucking kids.
You feel,
my job.
I think as a brown person, a minority, I think women deal with it a lot. There's this other, like, oh, you have a responsibility for your people. It's like, well, my people aren't defined by my skin tone. I got to be honest with you. My people are defined by who lives under my fucking roof. Simple as that.
That's it.
And I think that there's a lot of that right now, and we don't, I have my own personal beliefs, and I do have I read the news, and there's things that I really care about. But the only responsibility that I have, or honestly, the only thing that I can really do is create shit that make people laugh. What can I do? Like the more important thing for me, I can go and make a shit ton of people laugh every single week when we do these shows and create, in my opinion, what is very tangible, positive energy, a real positive thing. And when people are like, dude, how could you joke about something like that? I'm like, what are you talking about? We made thousands of people in a collective moment laugh and breathe a moment of fresh air and relief and not think about all the bad shit that's going on in the world. I think there's only positivity from that.
Listen, if you made it this far into the video,
Which is far. Like, no one ever does that on the internet.
like it's the end. You made it to the end of the video.
full fucking video
You
you
watched
did.
the whole thing. So if you liked it and you watched the whole thing, why don't you subscribe?
It means you like us.
Click the subscribe button, because if you don't, I'm gonna fucking murder John.
And I'm going to like it.
Kill him with my bare fucking hands. Yeah. And if you weren't sold on this video, there's plenty more. Watch what's next up and then subscribe. But just subscribe so I don't have to fucking kill him.
Well, I don't know. Do what you want, but subscribe. Probably.